Greetings and salutations, everybody. It's Dave Duford here at Final Expense Agent Mentor, where I help agents like you succeed in selling insurance. And today I'm coming back with part 2 of the biggest sales presentation mistakes you can make as an insurance agent. Last week I talked about 3 specific mistakes that final expense agents make, and I figured this week when I do this video, I was going to talk about some more generic mistakes that I see repetitively happen with newer agents, even experienced agents, when they're giving a sales presentation. So why don't we jump right into this particular topic. So you may not notice, you may notice in a little while though, I will say as an aside, as related to this video, I've got my twin girls in the room, Eve and Emily. Say hello, girls.
Hello.
Good, they're back there in the back trying to be quiet, so we're testing their resolve. Of course, one thing you'll know if you've ever had children is that children are the ultimate hardcore closers. They never take no for an answer. They always, and this is the first lesson that all of you have to start doing in every aspect of your sales presentation, is ask for the sale. My kids are obviously the pros. They're top at it. When I tell them no, they come back again and again and again. And it's only a matter of time before someone as cold-hearted and tough as me withers into a bit of nothing and give in. So when you're with your prospects, you got to remember, guys, you always have to ask. And the reason we ask is because asking questions is what precedes and continues the sales process, okay? So when we ask a question of our prospects, what happens is that we are in control. We are progressing the conversation, the direction of the sales presentation in the manner and the direction in which we want to. If the prospect begins to ask us questions, which is totally fine, and we don't ask or respond in the correct way with asking another question, we lose that momentum, we lose the progression of the sale, and ultimately what happens, we don't really make the sale as often as we would. So more specifically, the big times to always ask for the sale are when you're asking for the appointment on the phone and when you're asking for the sale at the end of the sales call. Of the two, the most important is to ask for the appointment. One thing I learned, I was coaching an agent, and this is very common, so if you do this, no hard feelings, you can easily correct this. I was coaching a brand new agent not long ago. She was doing absolutely everything right, she was doing everything great, except she didn't ask, would you like to meet tomorrow at Tuesday, or at 2, or would 10 be better? She didn't close with an assumptive type of close on the appointment, and so when she kind of asked everything else, it kind of just hung out there. The person on the other line was like, well, yeah, okay, you're cool, and this is interesting and all, but something's come up, and I need to get off the phone. So she didn't book as many appointments as she could. However, once I noticed a trend here, we immediately corrected it, and she started asking for that appointment and closing for it after the preceding end or at the end of each call. Really important that you do this, as well as when you door knock people too. Not so much so, but still important when you make a sale. I think that your presentation should ultimately, you should only be presenting at the end of your sales call to highly qualified people, but you still need to ask for them to do something, right? Because the nature of a sales presentation is we're leading them through a process, and they expect us to tell us what specifically to do, which is to buy based on a set of decisions, usually a good, better, best presentation as to which one's going to do best. So ask for the sale. I promise you'll see some sort of bump in your sales. You'll see some sort of result that will escalate you. Even if it's a small percentage, you'll see that people will take action more confidently. Remember, when you give a command, people who are followers, who typically are the person on the receiving end of the presentation, respond to that command positively with more confidence. If you don't have the confidence to ask for the sale, then they won't have the confidence to buy. And some psychological things going on there, but it's absolutely the case. So always ask for the sale on the phone for the appointment or in person for the sale. Point number 2, again, when you have girls, this is very important too. Talk too much or just not shutting up. So this kind of goes hand in hand in some sense with the close, but also throughout the entirety of the sales presentation. One of the things I realized in this business is that I found out that as you progress and as you continue on with the betterment of your abilities, your sales skills, you think you got to know all of this, like different verbiages and different facts. And while that's important, what you find is there is an unspoken element, like an air of confidence, that as you become better and you know your product, you require less and less words and explanation. You almost bleed out this authoritative vibe. Not in a dictatorial sense, but these people know who you are. They know you're the expert. And so what ends up happening is that you say less, but your words are more powerful. So sometimes you talk too much, and you can talk yourself out of a sale, right? Sometimes when we're in a presentation, we ask for sale. Perfect example, most commonplace that happens, is when we actually ask for the sale, we continue to try to sell it. We try to persuade them. We try to convince them. That's always a maneuver that puts you on a weakness type of scenario. So here, I'll give you another example. I was training an agent. I asked for the close. I asked for the sale. The guy across from me sat back, looked at this. He thought he had my prices, good, better, best, and he was looking at this, and he's rubbing his chin, sitting back, pondering. This went on probably for about 30 to 60 seconds, felt like an hour. All of a sudden, the person I was training jumped up and said, that doesn't have to start today. You could maybe look at less, right, Dave? So my ride-along jumped up and started suggesting alternatives. First of all, big no-no to jump in. Second of all, from a sales perspective, you cannot interrupt the process in which the prospect is thinking about how he's going to buy this. Who knows what the guy's thinking? He's thinking about what he's got in the bank account. He's thinking about, is this something he really wants? He's comparing it to other rates in his mind. You have to let your prospect go through the thinking process to come out the other end and make a determination internally whether what you're showing to him makes sense, or hopefully which one of the products you're showing them makes the most sense, right? The assumed close, not yes or no, but which of these you're going to buy. So don't interrupt the thought process. Don't talk over or talk too much. When you ask that question, shut up, let them reply. It may take a couple of seconds to reply. Sometimes the best response to somebody explaining something to you, by the way, guys, is just to, nod your head, look them in the eye, say, really? Wow. And just be quiet. You notice there was that little pause there. I learned this from Tim Winders, a guy I talk about a lot as far as final expense sales training goes. And he learned that very effectively in sales, just nodding in agreement and pausing just a little bit longer than you think, it actually allows your prospect to continue another level down in their explanation. Maybe they're going to tell you in response some of the factual things about why they think life insurance is important. It's a good buy. I'm not getting any younger. But then they go, well, and because I lost my wife to this and my daughter had to pitch in, it was horrible. But they're thinking through this stuff as they're answering. So you may sense that you think that they're done talking, but they're not. So just kind of nod your head, be engaged, interested, have the positive body language, but almost with your response, yeah, really. Beckon out more of that explanatory background of whatever they want to say. Because trust me, they're going to want to say more than what you think. And when you allow them to talk more than you, they're going to think you're the best conversationalist in the world. They're going to want to do business with you because you actually seem to care, because you're listening to what they're saying. So shut up. Don't talk too much. And then number 3 is always have a preponderance of proof. I learned this from looking at my books right now, a guy named Dan Kennedy. Anybody who's been in marketing long enough knows who Dan Kennedy is. He's kind of sort of semi-retired, great copywriter, great marketing guy, great books. Anything you buy from him is great, even if they're 5, 10 plus years old. One thing he talked about in his sales training book and his marketing is a story about a lawyer who was a defense counsel for a guy accused of murder. And the counsel was convening, they were putting up evidence, and one of the junior attorneys said, I think we've got enough to get this guy off. I'm not too worried about it. And the story went, the lead attorney, much older, much more experienced, walked over to the assistant attorney, the junior attorney, grabbed him by the lapels of his collar and lifted him up to his face and said, there is no such thing as good enough when it comes to showing the evidence for freeing this man from his potential shacklement for the rest of his life. You must have a preponderance of proof beyond a shadow of a doubt. And so the great takeaway lesson from this is that you cannot leave any stone unturned. You may not think it, but there are things that will convince a prospect to just nudge them over the line to get them to the point where they actually decide to buy, where they may not. So anything here's how you can actually put this into action. Anything where you make a claim, you want to back it up with evidence. So let's say we're selling, let's say you're selling Medicare supplements. Plan Fs are being taken off the market. If you just tell a random person you met off of a lead that, hey, your Plan F is going away, you better buy from me, they're going to say, huh, really? That's interesting. But they're going to have a shred of doubt. So what you need to do is not just tell them, you need to show them, right? You need to show them correspondence from the government or from CMS or whomever is responsible for coming out with that. Show them a report. Or look, this is not me saying this. This is what is actually coming from the government. And it's better to prepare now because here's what's going to happen when Plan F is phased out, how it may affect your rates down the line. So that positions your argument in a logical way, but it really strikes hard to the core point, which many times can affect a person emotionally to get them urgently involved to potentially changing what they're doing. So every claim that you make, the takeaway here, guys, is always back it up with evidence. Imagine your prospects are people who are really hard to convince. And everything where you make a claim or you make some sort of substantiated statement, always back it up with something. Even if it's overkill, it may seem that way. I promise you, though, it is not. It is a way to be on top of things and make sure that you're giving the best presentation and doing the best job by the people you are presenting to. So in summary here, the top 3 things that I think are the biggest screw-ups for insurance sales presentations that you can fix right away is number 1, asking for the sale. Ask for the sale on the appointment. Ask for the sale at the end of the sales call. Start doing that every single time. You'll immediately get a bump in your overall closing percentage. Number 2, don't talk too much, all right? Talk less and let questions hang. Don't always jump in and try to talk over a prospect. Learn to talk less. Learn to ask open-ended questions so you can allow your client to talk more. You always want that bias to be towards your client talking as opposed to you talking. And especially in the opening, even talking too much in an appointment setting is too much. It sends a level of weakness or unsuredness, and people respond in like kind, and they don't trust you. The less you say, and many times, is more powerful you make the statement. And number 3, always have preponderance of proof. No matter what you're selling, guys, always back up your claims with evidence. It may seem like overkill, it may seem like too much, but I promise you, you will win more hearts and minds over when you can show that your claims are great and that they're backed up by evidence. So thank you guys so much for listening. Eva, Emily, you want to say bye?
Bye.
Thank you so much, guys. Well, my name is Dave Duford at Final Expense Agent Mentor. Of course, buy everything I tell you to. Before I forget, make sure you buy my book. It's the greatest book ever about selling final expense. You can find it on Amazon or my website. Make sure you subscribe. Also, give me a thumbs up if you haven't seen the flashy subscribe here. Smash the like button enough times. I will see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed the training. See you later. Bye.